Hello, my dear students. Let's start the process of learning, in which we are going to learn about the childhood, in which the poet expresses his agony at the loss of his childhood and expresses his deep thinking or thoughts about this poem. Yes, dear students, now we are going to start the second part of childhood, which has been written by Marcus Natin. Dear students, you can see in the picture the joy, the happiness, and the pleasure of the children. It is the pleasure of childhood. It is also known as the stage of innocence and carefree life. Before starting this part, we must know the highlights of the previous part. In the previous part, we learned about the poet who was born on 23rd June 1975, and the theme of the poem means in this poem the poet expresses his agony and asks himself when he lost his childhood. He thinks perhaps he lost his childhood when he became 12 years old, and he came to know that hell and heaven are not the real places, they are only imaginary places, and they are only product of imagination. Perhaps it was the day when he came to know that he had lost his childhood, and he thought that he was individual. He came to know the sense of individuality, that his own minds are his own minds thoughts, his own mind is his own mind, and he can produce his own thoughts. And hypocrisy, when he came to know that the people are hypocritic, they never do what they preach. Each stanza expresses different quality. Next point is in which he tells that each stanza expresses different qualities. Means first he tells about the rationality, and then hypocrisy, and then he tells about the individuality. And next we had studied about the explanation of the first stanza, and next is explanation of the second stanza. Let's student know the explanation of the second stanza. When did my childhood go? Was it the time I realized that adults were not all they seemed to be? They talked of love and preached of love, but did not act so lovingly. Was that the day? Dear students, when did my childhood go? The poet wonders when he lost his childhood. He thinks perhaps it was the time when he realized that adults were not all they seem to be. Means they, when he came to know that the adults are hypocritic, they never do what they preach. Means they never do what they say. Actually, they preached, they talked about love, but they never follow it, but they never practice it in their lives. They talked of love and preached of love, but did not act so lovingly. Lovingly means with compassion or love, you can see here. And was that the day? The poet says that if it was the day when he lost his childhood, means when he became adult and came to know about the hypocrisy of the men. Actually वो कहते कुछ हैं और करते कुछ हैं. In the childhood he felt that the parents are truthful, what they say is true. But when he became adult, when he crossed the age of 11 years, he understood that they never speak what they do, or we can say they never do what they speak. Hypocrisy. So this stanza expresses or tells about the hypocrisy of the men. And next, explanation of the third stanza. You can see here, when did my childhood go? Was it when I found my mind was really mine, to use whichever way I choose, producing thoughts that were not those of other people, but my own, and mine alone was that the day. Students, when did my childhood go? The poet wanders and repeats the same question. When he lost his childhood, he thinks it was the time, it was the day when he found that his mind was his own mind. Means he understood about his mind, that his mind was his own mind to use whichever way I choose. Means he could use his mind according to his own way. Means he was the owner, he was the master of his mind, and he could govern it according to him, he can use it according to him. Okay, producing thoughts that were not those of others people. Means he could produce those thoughts which were his own, not others. His thoughts were not affected with the other people. मीन्स जो उसके विचार थे वो स्वयं के थे, वो किसी दूसरे के विचार नहीं थे, वो दूसरे के थोपे हुए विचार नहीं थे. तो he could understood that he has also importance in this life, and he understood the individuality. He understood the sense of individuality. But my own and my alone, means he thought that his mind was his own and his thoughts were his own, and there were the importance of his thoughts also. He thought perhaps it was the day when he lost his childhood. Next, sense of individuality. Means I have already told you here, his mind was his own. In this stanza, the poet tells that his mind was his own, not others. Could use his mind in his own way. Means he was free. He was free to use his mind according to his own way, or according to his own desire, produce his own thoughts unaffected by others. Means he could produce his own thoughts unaffected by other people, and this shows that he had become egoist. He had grown up with the passage of time, and his qualities had changed, and he had become egoist because he had understood the value of his own life, his own mind, and his own thoughts, ideas. Now, students, the assignment has been given here. You are to read the second stanza and answer the following questions which have been given here. When does the poet think he lost his childhood? Students, you are to tell when does the poet think he lost his childhood? What do adults usually talk and preach of? जैसा कि आपको बताया गया, लोग किसके बारे में बात करते हैं, किसके बारे में उपदेश देते हैं. तो दे टॉक ऑफ लव and other things, but they never do those things. How do adults differ in their actions? लोग adults अपने actions में किस तरीके से differ होते हैं, भिन्न होते हैं. What has the poet found about adults now? You are to answer these questions. I hope you must have understood. Now, thanks for watching this video.